Hello. Today we'll discuss about immersive storytelling. I'm sure that we've all been told stories, at least by our grandparents or at nursery. But immersive storytelling does something deeper than just tell you a story. It lets you live it. In traditional storytelling, the audience is watching from a distance, while in immersive storytelling, you step in. It's the difference we pointed out at the previous presentation too, between hearing a story about the forest and crawling inside as a worm, exploring the soil and meeting roots. Then you feel and take action through decision making. What makes a story stick with you? It's something more than just the plot or the characters. It's how we feel inside the story. Immersive storytelling works because it allows us to step in a new world and not just observe it from a distance. You can feel it from within and shape it. From passive listeners, we become participants or even co creators. That's how learning becomes alive. But again, the best way to understand the concept is not through the definitions, but through contrast, through a simple living example that shows just how different traditional storytelling is from immersive storytelling. A teacher reads a story about a village which is facing drought. The children hear the story about the empty wells, the thirsty trees, and the animals that living, and they imagine, empathize, but they still remain outside the story, like watching a film. In the immersive version now, the children enter the quiet virtual village during a time of drought. The land looks dry and there are no loud sounds. As they walk through the space, small details begin to appear little by little, like a field with tired plants. And then, if they touch the soil, a short story is whispered about how the crops used to grow. Later, a house with a broken roof, when they walk near it, a voice remembers the rain, the time that they have rain. They might find a hidden message under a stone or a drawing inside a wall. The children don't necessarily change this world, but as they move, the world shares itself with them. They choose their path and what they want to notice. And through these small discoveries, the story slowly unfolds, not with drama, but with presence, as they become like a part of the whole narrative. The story is the same and also the core message, but this is a completely different experience. What we made the second version immersive, it wasn't just the medium that changed, it was the participation and the personal meaning. Immersive storytelling doesn't need huge budgets. Tools like CoSpaces, Spatial, and even Canvas 360 video support help us build experiences that invite movement, voice, and play. The point isn't high tech, but high touch. Each immersive tool brings a different storytelling experience. VR surrounds the learner, creating full body involvement. You enter a fully digital world and leave the real one behind. AR brings the story into the real world. Digital things appear on top of the real world around, helping learners notice the unseen. MR invites physical interaction. It makes the story responsive to the learner's body through gesture, movement, or eye contact. 360 video offers controlled immersion. It places the viewer inside the scene, but without the need for control. Back now in our soil literacy lesson, once again, I would use such immersive tools to bring invisible worlds to life. Through VR, students could become earthworms, navigating tunnels and touching roots, feeling the underground as a living system. AR could help us connect those stories to our school garden. Children will see messages or animations on the soil. It will help them explore and learn by showing things that are usually hidden. With 360 video, sound, and imagery, we could create an emotional bridge. With MR, we could go one step further, letting children interact with both real soil and digital elements at the same time. We could plant, for example, a real seed in the school garden and seeing a digital sprout appear and worms inhabit its roots. Each tool is opening a new entry point, but the goal is remaining the same, to feel connected and responsible. While medium shifts, the mission stays the same. But immersion doesn't always work as we hope. Sometimes it all overwhelms instead of engaging. Instead of serving the story, might distract from it if it's too much. If the environment is too busy, learners may feel lost, may experience motion sickness, especially in younger ages. That's why scaffolding is the key. We need to guide the learners gradually. Some students may not even have the devices that are needed. Equity in access is still a real issue. And finally, there is always a risk that we focus too much on the visuals and forget the deep meaning. After exploring both the promises and the challenges of the immersive storytelling, it may be helpful to take a step back and return to origin. Because when technology overwhelms, we need to remember that it's not the medium that makes a story meaningful, but the message itself. So let's travel back in time to the caves and the firesides and explore myths so we could point out what has always made storytelling powerful. By reconnecting with what matters, we could use modern tools not to distract, but to protect the timeless meaning. Storytelling has always been a part of human life. Before writing, people spoke and drew on walls. They shared stories to teach what mattered and to stay close to each other. The way we tell stories has changed dramatically the last century. From myths we passed to books, then to radio, later to the films, and now to the digital media. But the reason stays the same over the years, to make sense of the things and connect and remember, of course. Some myths stay powerful even after thousands of years. Their meaning doesn't fade because they speak about nature, about its cycles, about the life itself, and the human emotions and needs. Today, with modern tools like VR and AR, we can make these stories even more vivid and meaningful for today's learners, not just by telling the myth, but by letting students experience it. We can bring the strong, for example, timeless myth of Persephone to life with some simple immersive tools. For example, with 360 video, students can watch the forest lose color when Persephone leaves and bloom again when she returns. With MR through HoloLens, the classroom itself could change. As Demeter mourns, the room transforms, the sky darkens, and the sounds of wildlife fade. And then, when Persephone returns, the colors also returns and birdsong comes back. By making specific gestures, like offering virtual seeds to the air, the learners could trigger regenerative responses. This experience invites them to think, what role do I play in the cycles of nature? It returns the ancient wisdom into embodied learning. In the field of environmental education, immersive technologies are already being used to help what we otherwise we could not experience. To weather burning forests, to feel the absence of bees, and finally to realize the urgency of the climate crisis. These experiences are not just simulations, but moreover, they are stories designed to move us as we experience vividly the climate change. Through the senses and our heart, they are building empathy and long term memory. One of the most powerful examples of environmental storytelling in VR is Godvana, an awarded winning virtual rainforest experience that was shown in major international festivals like Tribeca Immersive. Viewers explore a large digital version of the real Daintree rainforest in Australia. Over 24 hours, the forest slowly degrades, visualizing real climate data up to the year 2090. The most powerful part of the experience is that people can slow down this distraction just by being present. The more time people spend inside the rainforest, the more resilient it becomes. You don't just watch a documentary about rainforest destruction, you witness it fading around you. It's a living narrative that you will remember long after you take off the headset. Another very nice example is Pollinator Park. What if then the future had no bees? Pollinator Park is a beautifully designed VR and 360 experience set in a dystopian future where pollinators have vanished. As you walk through a futuristic zoo museum, you learn what we've lost, not with statistics or graphics, but through absence. The flowers don't bloom anymore, and the cells are empty. The aim is not to scare, but it invites us to act. It reminds us that the protection of biodiversity isn't optional, but vital and crucial. Unlike the previous example, which is still shown mainly at special events, Pollinator Park is much more accessible. It's free to use and can run directly on a computer with no need for special equipment. It doesn't work on phones or tablets, but it can also be experienced through two types of VR headsets. This gives to the teachers more flexibility in how they want to use it. Generalizing, immersive storytelling invites us to rethink what it means to teach and to learn. It's not just about using new tools, but designing experiences that help learners feel, act, and reflect through stories. We don't just deliver some content, we create stories that stay with the learner because they are interactive, meaningful, and emotional rich. From ancient myths to virtual forests, the goal remains the same: to connect knowledge with experience and learners with the world around them. I hope that this was inspirational for using the immersive storytelling, not just as a method, but as an invitation to empathy and transformation. Thank you for watching. There are following references.